Mr. Matongo?
How are you, Mr. Rong?
I'm well, thank you. How are you, sir?
I'm right, thank you, Chief.
Great, great. All right,
Sure.
I'm gonna be giving you control just now. Who else am I putting?
You can put, you are part of the host, isn't it?
Yes.
You can yeah, you can give me, then you can also, I think, give the president.
All right. Where is the president? I don't think I see him yet.
It's not yet dropped in, I saw, but
Yeah.
he'll be logged soon. Yeah.
All right.
But even if you don't give him, for as long as I'm there, I think I can admit because I know at a certain point we'll be talking.
All right, no problem. And Vatina?
Vatina she's coming in also, but
All
she'll
right.
be should be emceeing. So basically, she'll be moderating. So basically, I think she will not be able to
Have time to manage. No, I get you. I understand. All right, cool. It's all yours. You let me know when to play.
Okay, fine.
All right, thank you. Cheers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mute yourself. Wait, let me see if you're mute.
A player of sitting on 2 goals, and the coach is stuck. Now, coach wishes he was in his mind that is a chance to move up. Now, the chance move up.
Mr. President.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, you are also co-host now.
All right. So maybe let's give it another 1, 2, 3 minutes. I think some people are just being admitted here.
Yes, all right.
Okay, is Bettina there?
I haven't seen her yet.
Okay.
Microphone, earphones, please. Earphones.
Okay, mommy.
The presenter.
Good day, everyone. May I ask that you mute yourselves if you are not talking? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ong.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ong. Yes, sir. You're online there, you're live.
Yes, I am online.
Okay, we'll be starting in a minute time, eh?
All right, no problem.
Good afternoon. I think because of time now, I think let's start.
All right, Vatina is coming now.
Good afternoon, everyone. You are all welcome to this Zoom meeting with regards to the permits for you to stay legally in South Africa. So you're all welcome here, and the person to take us through the agenda we'll start with the prayer, the national anthem, then the president will come in, then introduce the guest speaker, then from there we'll proceed. So for now, I will request Mr. Rongwe to pray us the national anthem before we start. Mr. Rongwe.
Can everyone hear me? Mr.
Yes,
Matongo?
yes.
All right, thanks. We're gonna start now.
Sure. The volume is low. Mr. Rongwe, the volume is low for the audio. Eh?
Yes, Manzi video chabona.
Hello, Mr. Rongwe.
Yes, sir.
Your national anthem is is it finished?
Yes, it's finished. Was it not audible?
No, it was not audible, but it's well. Pastor Piri, I know you're online with us here. Pastor Piri.
Yes, sir.
Please,
I
can you give us a prayer, please?
am with you. Yes.
Give us a prayer, sir.
Our Father and our God, in the name of Jesus, we appreciate because you have given us this opportunity that we may sit together and learn something that is so potential and important to us. So we pray that you shall give us a guidance, O God, from the beginning of this meeting up to the end. Even, our God, with the wisdom and understanding that we desire from you, that whatever we shall learn, we shall have a typical understanding, and we shall have a moving forward from here into another level that we never knew and understood. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Mr. President, you
Amen.
Amen. Apologies, gents and ladies. Mr. President, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Am I loud and clear?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. I think let's all mute our phones, please. Thank you. Thank you, Program Director, Mrs. Tina. Thank you, David, for the platform. Thank you, Mr. Matongo, for organizing this Zoom meeting. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to this very important Zoom meeting on how you can acquire legal documents to live and work in South Africa. I would like to introduce to you Mrs. Donnia Chanza, who we have engaged from 2018 until now. Donnia is the director of Chaman Consultants based in Lusaka, Zambia. Working with Donnia has been one of our success stories as the Zambia Association in South Africa. As Zambians living in South Africa, we have benefited over 550 virus permits with Donnia. So this is a great success story. Acquiring legal documents in South Africa opens a lot of avenues in our lives. It's a game changer. It's a stress remover. It's something that can change your life. To work freely, to invest in South Africa, it's a key to education with you, the principal, and your children, etc. It is now my honor and privilege to introduce to you Mrs. Donnia Chanza, who's going to do a presentation on all these documents we all want to acquire. Please, I ask that you accord Donnia to do her presentation fully, minus interruption. Then if you've got a question, just keep your question, write it down, keep your question. Then after the presentation, there will be a question and answer session where you have to ask questions. Thank you very much. Over to you, Donnia.
I think before Donnia comes on, Mr. President, the best to be, if you've got a question, I see Mr. Roy already had his hand up, but we're not taking questions now. If you can go on the chat, please type your questions, and then we're going to read them at the end, just in case you may forget a question along the way. Please just share your question on the chat. Donnia, over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedules to come and join us for this meeting. I'm Donnia Chanza, and I don't work alone. I work with my husband, who's been my partner for the last 7 years. We've been working together for 7 years to help out with immigration-related issues globally. I'm so honored to be here. And by God's grace, I hope today you get satisfied information to enable you stay in South Africa legally. So I'll pass it on to Stephen Chanza, who's my husband, to do a presentation to you concerning documents and information in order for you to obtain payments in South Africa. Stephen, over to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for according us this time to be able to do a presentation to you. May I ask the hosts that they give me some permission to enable screen sharing so that I can, put a PowerPoint for everybody to see.
All right, no problem. Okay, you've got co-host now.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, so welcome to, can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we can.
All right, so thank you very much for according us this opportunity to be able to present to you and bring clarity to what needs to be done for you to live in South Africa legally. Suffice to say, we have been given a mandate to make sure that we provide services that transcend to the best service that we can ever give. We know the hustles and bustles of immigration, and what we've done is that we've got a team of very knowledgeable people that help out to make sure that you have a hassle-free experience to get your legal documents. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is I'll talk a little bit about our company. Our company was established in mid-2012 and it's a service provider with an outstanding reputation for innovative service. Our services have been intentionally designed to meet and exceed our clients' expectations, even in the most complex of situations. And we must say that we are transcending immigration service. We provide world-class immigration consulting services, and we have successfully, ever since we began, processed over 5,570 cases for over 21 countries, of which over 550 are South African visas. We are also partners with worldwide companies like KPMG Finland that we help to do cases for Europe, and with IBN Immigration. Also, the lawyers that we use are Eisenberg and Associates when we need legal, when we encounter legal issues with our company. And they are very good, and we chose these partners because they meet the expectations that we require. So today, we are going to talk about the visas that we process for South Africa. The first one is the visitor's visa. The second one is the critical skills visa. The third one is the general work visa. The fourth one is the study visa. The fifth one is the relatives visa. So we're going to talk about the relatives visa, the ordinary relatives visa where you're not allowed to work, and one where you can work. And then there's the volunteer visa and the business visa. Sorry about this. Let me just reduce this so you can see the last one, which is the PR. So we are going to start. We're going to also do the PR. All right, so we go forward from here. So suffice to say, all the visas that you get, it is important to note that for any visa, they are universal requirements. Okay, so the universal requirements, the first thing is that the passport, the original passport, must be submitted. And this passport must have a validity that is greater than the time that you are applying for the visa for. So if you are requesting for a period of 2 years, it means that your passport must be valid for more than 2 years. If you are requesting for a visa that is 5 years, your passport must be valid for more than 5 years. And another universal requirement is that you need 2 color passport size photos. And then there is one form which is universal for most of the visas except for the visitor's visa. So this immigration form, it needs to be completely filled in and given to us. This is universal for every visa. And then the fourth thing that is universal is the proof of funds. The proof of funds can come in the form of bank statements, salary advances, undertakings by hosts, a bursary, a medical cover, or cash available, including credit cards and traveler's checks. So depending on what you are applying for, these are the accepted proof of funds by the South African High Commission. So here, when we are processing visas, we process them through the South African Embassy, the High Commission here in Zambia. And I want to also categorically explain that the system, the immigration system of South Africa, is that they are not interlinked. So the mission office doesn't have the same system as the South African system. So if you need any verifications, there has to be communication between the two. It's not like if I post something in this system, then the other one is automatically updated. They are all right, thank you very much. So we move on now. So now that I've established that those are the universal requirements, we are going to now start talking about the requirements that are individual to a particular visa. And the first one is a visitor's visa. So a visitor's visa, you know, when you're going to South Africa, in a year, you are given 30 days. Each person is given 30 days, whether they want to go and do business or do tourism. But if you want to go there for more than 30 days, you need to get a visiting visa. So if your requirement is to stay more than 30 days, you need to apply for a visitor's visa. And we do this, and this can allow you to do some work, it can allow you to do tourism, and it can allow you to temporarily stay in South Africa. But the validity is 90 days. So for this, with the other requirements that I talked about, where you submit a passport size photo, proof of funds, and also so proof of funds, passport size photos, and the immigration form. The other things that you need is a statement and or documentation confirming your purpose and duration of your visit. And then if you're traveling by plane, you have to produce an air ticket. The processing fee to the South African High Commission is $46. And our fee is 2,900 Rand. This is inclusive of VAT. So for this one, I know that we used to charge in kwacha, but our kwacha has become very unstable. And so we have adopted, when we're dealing with international clients, that we just give you our international rate, and then we deal with exchange rate fluctuations. So that's for the visiting visa. So you can take questions, notes, if you need any clarifications on this one. The next one we're going to go to is the critical skills visa. So the critical skills visa is a visa that we have gotten, like in terms of all the visas that we've gotten, maybe it tops in about 75%. So it's a so it is issued in accordance with the critical skills list. So there is a critical skills list which was created by the South African government. And so depending on whether you qualify, you've got the qualification that is critical and needed in South Africa, this is the permit for you. the visa for you. So the whole idea why they came up with this concept is to further government policy to attend strategic infrastructure projects and key national strategic projects in support of the Department of Trade and Industry. So this critical skills visa is a big deal. So everyone, whoever has a qualification, which is a critical skills qualification, this is the visa for you. So for this to happen, you need, on top of the 4 things that I talked about, which is your proof of funds, your passport copy, your original passport, your passport photos, and the form, you need a medical form and a radiological form. Now, these forms, most of the time we receive questions where people say, I'm going to the hospital and they give me a medical form or a radiological form. There is a form that was made by the Department of Home Affairs, the South African Department of Home Affairs. It's a template which your doctor is supposed to fill in, and that is the acceptable one. It's filled in and stamped. Then the next thing is the birth certificate. So because you're processing from here, you must prove that you are Zambian. And therefore, we need a birth record for you to do this, the birth certificate. On top of the birth certificate, we need a police clearance. So the police clearance, the medical and radiological, these documents have to be less than 6 months old for us to process. The next thing that is needed, so on a critical skills, there are 2 areas. So one area, you can first find a job that is critical and then apply. Or you can carry a qualification which is critical and apply for a critical skills visa without a company. Now, for this critical skills visa, where you get it without a company, depending on the discretion of the High Commissioner, they can give you between 6 months and 1 year to go and look for a job in South Africa. So it depends on the discretion. So some people have gotten 6 months, some it may be 9 months, a year. However, if you find a job, you can get a critical skills visa up to a period of 5 years. Now, what documents do they need from your employer? The first document that they need from your employer is a motivational letter. And then the next thing, so the motivational letter motivates why you are so critical to be part of that organization. The second one that is needed is 2 letters of undertaking. Some write 1 letter and put both undertakings. So these undertakings is an undertaking by the company to say that while you are employed with them, they will make sure that your validity of your passport remains, your passport remains valid while you're working for them. And should there be a situation where you are no longer employed with them, they will take responsibility to relocate you and your family. So they must undertake this. So this comes from the employer. Third thing the 4th thing that is required is an employment contract. So this employment contract has to be submitted to us. The 5th thing that is needed is your academic qualification and your curriculum vitae or resume. So the academic qualification has to show that it is a critical skills qualification. So the critical skills is not tied to the job. It is tied to your qualification. Once the qualification is ascertained, that is when now it is tied to your job. Okay? So that's the first thing. First, qualification, then the job. So we need to see that the qualification is there and then the type of job that you are getting. The other thing that is required from your company is the company registration. This company registration you must obtain from your employer. It is the requirement. Then the other thing that is required is that you must prove that you're not going to become a destitute. There has to be somewhere where you're going to be accommodated. So for proof of accommodation, you could have somebody who says, well, while they're trying to settle, they're going to stay with me. Therefore, here is my my residence permit or critical skills permit, it has to be a long-term permit. And also they provide a passport and say, while they're here, I'm going to stay with them, and this is my utility bill to prove that I have accommodation. Then the other thing that is required is if your academic qualification is not a South African qualification, you need to get it certified by SACWA. Evaluated, sorry, by SACWA. So once you get the SACWA certification, after evaluation, then you have, that's part of the requirements of the attachment to the application. And then you have to also register to a professional body. So when I say register to a professional body, if for example, you're an engineer and the engineering job is critical. Therefore, you have to find an engineering association in your country that you can affiliate with in South Africa. There. Once you register with that body, that certificate is needed, or proof that you've registered. It could be a receipt in case it takes time to get the certificate. The processing fee for this visa is $165. And our fee is 5,800 rands, inclusive VAT. So if you've got any questions on the critical skills visa, please write them down and then we'll be able to attend to them. So now the next one is the general work visa. So the general work visa, it allows anyone who wants to immigrate to South Africa to go in and stay there for a period of 5 years to fill up jobs or roles which native workers are not available. So in short, this work visa is given to people that do not have critical qualifications, but they are in competition with South Africans. So we have enough South Africans that are qualified for the job, but the job market doesn't have enough South Africans. So just like critical skills visa, you need a medical and a radiological, you need a birth certificate, police clearance, you need a motivational letter and undertakings, you need an employment contract, you need your academic qualifications and your CV, you need your company registration and proof of accommodation, you need SACWA verification and registration to a professional body. What makes this visa different is that you need a Department of Labor certificate. So your employer must apply to the Department of Labor and present a case to say that they have tried to find South Africans to fill in that role, but they can't find them and you are the right fit. So they go and apply for you. Once that certificate is out, then we can apply for a general work visa. And that is for people that do not fall on the critical skills list. So it's either you're on the critical skills list or you're on the general work visa list. The other one is the study visa. So the study visa is issued to people who wish to get education in South Africa. Now this visa is given according to the validity of how long you are going to be studying there. If you are given, it depends, if you're given an acceptance letter and the program says, okay, it's a degree program, going to run for 4 years, you might get that 4 years. If it says it's a diploma program that runs for 2 years, you will get it for 2 years. So it's dependent on the program that you have chosen and you're going to do. For this to be done, they also need, despite the 4 things that we talked about, you need a medical and radiological report. You need a police clearance report. Now, we also understand that they are children. So say, for example, a parent gets a critical skills visa and then moves with the wife and then also moves with the children, and they need to be in school. So if the children are less than 16 years old, they don't need a police clearance report. Police clearance report is for any student who is above 16 years. You also need proof of residence. So if you are going to be staying on campus, your acceptance letter must say so. This will be enough proof of residence. If not, then you must provide proof that you're going to be resident in South Africa, by maybe a utility bill, a lease agreement, or things like that. And then you also need medical insurance. So you need to make sure that medically you are insured. Then the other thing that you need is, I talked about a school acceptance letter. So that is important. However, the school that you choose is very important. The school must have a registration certificate. So when you go and ask for an acceptance letter, you have to further ask them for a registration certificate for a private higher education institution. They need to give you this certificate, a copy of that certificate. If the school cannot provide it, then you have to choose another school, because they can't process your visa without this document. Then the other thing is private higher education institution. That's for the higher education institutions. Then, if you are below 21, parents must write a consent letter and provide copies of their passports to say that they are consenting for the child to go and study in South Africa. For this visa to process, the processing fee is $46 at the High Commission. And for us, we charge 4,060 kwacha, VAT, sorry, 4,060 rands, VAT inclusive. Then we move to the relatives visa. The relatives visa is issued to a spouse or a child who wishes to join. So if a spouse, say, wants to join another spouse who is either on a work visa, a PR, or or a citizen. So a citizen, a PR, critical skills work visa, general work visa. Whoever wants to join them, if it's a spouse or a child, they can get this this visa. So this visa is valid for a period of 2 years. The applicant of this visa is not allowed to do any work. So if we process this visa for you, you must understand that the law does not allow you to do any work with this visa. It will allow you legal stay in South Africa, but you cannot do any kind of work with it. So despite the 4 requirements that are general, we talk about the medical and radiological reports. I would also like to say that the definition of children on this visa are anyone who is below 18. Anyone above 18 is not considered as a child. So anybody above 18 cannot get a relatives visa to go and join a parent. You can only join a spouse. Then you also need to produce a birth certificate for children or a marriage certificate for a wife. Or husband, wife or husband. Then a police clearance is necessary for anybody who is above 16 years. Of course, if somebody is below 12 years, they don't need to get a radiological report. They just need to get a medical report. Then the copy of the immigration status of the spouse or parent is important. They must provide that. And then for children or a wife, you need a consent letter to explain from the person who holds that permit or visa, to explain that this, I consent, they are coming to join. And then proof of accommodation. Proof of accommodation. Hello? All right, sorry. So proof of accommodation and the processing fee of 4,060 rands for the relatives visa. Now, the next one is what is called a relatives visa section 11.6. So this is a visa that is given to a spouse who has a relative's visa. So this one is not given to children, it's given to a spouse who has a relative's visa but decides to take up employment while in SA. All right, so a copy. So for this one, you need a copy of the relative's visa. Number two, you need a medical radiological report, a marriage certificate, police clearance certificate, copy of the immigration status of the spouse. You need an offer letter for the job which you are going to go into, a company registration certificate, and proof of accommodation. For this visa, you need to pay processing fee to the embassy of $165 and then 5,800 rands as a fee to Chaman. The next one we're going to look at is a volunteer visa. The volunteer visa allows the holder of this visa to perform voluntary and charitable work in South Africa. It allows the applicant to receive a daily stipend to offset their expenses, but does not allow for any remuneration beyond this point. This visa may be issued for a maximum period of 3 years. So those that want to do volunteer work, you are not allowed to get paid, but you can be paid expenses, your daily expenses. So like, accommodation, eating, and those kind of things. But you cannot have a contract of employment. The requirements for the volunteer permit, despite the 4 things that I talked about, you need a copy of the agreement with the entity for which you will do the volunteer work. You need a police clearance certificate. You need a medical and a radiological report. For this visa, the processing fee at the embassy is $46. Our fee is 5,800 rands, VAT inclusive. Then we go to the PR, which is last but not least. Okay, so the last but not least, the PR. So the PR, it may be obtained in various ways, but mostly I want to talk about, say, somebody who's had critical skills for more than 5 years. So the PR can be obtained. If you've had critical skills for 5 years, you can apply for PR. If you are an investor, so that's for the business visa. Let me check if I spoke about the business visa. If you, I don't think I spoke about the business visa. Okay, I'll come back and talk about it after I finish this one. So the PR allows, it may be obtained under different ways, which are so many to talk about. So I'll concentrate on the critical skills. So the person who has critical skills for 5 years, they can apply for PR after they've had it. So when they've had it for 5 years, they can apply. There are also people that want to, that are retired, or sometimes a relative. So like I wrote there, terms and conditions apply. So I'm going to stick to the critical skills. What you need to get a PR is a medical and radiological report. You need a birth certificate and a police clearance. You need a motivational letter and undertakings. Validity of passport and relocation. You need an employment contract. You need academic qualifications and CV. You need the company registration, proof of accommodation. You need ZASA certification and professional body registration. So this permit, the residence, the permanent residence, it takes quite some time, a year to about 2 years to be processed. And so it costs $165, $165 for the High Commission, and we charge 11,600 rands to process this residence permit. Let me just go to the business visa. So the business visa is given to a person who wants to take to start a company or invest in an existing company in South Africa. So the business visa, the minimum investment that you have to make into South Africa is 5 million rands. And you must register your company to different bodies, and you must also undertake that you employ more than 60% local South Africans at any given time. So those are the requirements of the business visa for those that want to take up a business visa. So I wanted to also now reiterate that for us to process your visas, we have gone into an agreement with ZASA that whoever is a member and can prove membership, we will waive the consultation fee of 350 rands. So if you call us and you need us to help you, you need at all times to provide proof that you are a ZASA member. Only after verification are we going to continue with the consultation. I also wanted to give this note that prices may change if you want us to do more work than the visa processing only. So let me explain this. There may be some people that will require us to help them with their medical and radiological. So we'll charge extra for that. If you want us to process a police report for you, we will charge extra for that. So our fees are fixed. However, they may vary depending on what you want us to do for you. If you want us to do draft letters for you, we charge for that. So that is what I wanted to talk about over this issue. And I also wanted to say, because normally we receive phone calls after 17 on weekends, we want to explain that our work hours are Monday to Friday, between 8 and 17, except on Zambian public holidays where we also don't work. However, we are telling you that if you wish to call us after hours or on weekends, we will then put the consultation fee into effect. So you will pay the consultation fee if you want to consult us outside working hours or on weekends. So having said all this, now we are going to allow questions.
Just before we take questions, I just wanted to add in some information on the business visa. It's also important to know that the DTI document, that's the Department of Trade document, that is very, very vital for application of a business visa. You can have all the other documents, but if you do not have that, unfortunately, your application will not be accepted for submission and it will not be processed. So that's what I wanted to add. Thank you very much.
Are you done, Donia?
Yes, please take it up and see.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. So just stay on so that I can read out the questions, and then I'll read 2 or 3 at a time, and then from there we'll pick it as we go. Okay. So the first one is, they're saying in your critical skills, you said people must be registered by a professional body. And someone is saying that, but you're not allowed to register with a professional body without a permit in South Africa. So what do they do in that case?
Most of the registration bodies, that would be a new encounter for us. With most registration bodies, they don't require a permit for you to get registered with them, most of them. So if there's anything like that, that's coming up to us as a new thing. Otherwise, for people that have been able to submit their applications, no permit was requested of them.
Okay, and the next one, sorry, I had said 3 actually, sorry, my error. The next one is there any permit for cross-border drivers? The next one, you can answer them together. The next one will be, what about children above 15 coming to visit parents for more than 30 days? Which visa do they apply for? The third one is, I have a PR, can I get a student visa for my niece whose parents are in Zambia? So you can answer those together.
Okay, so the first one that I'm going to tackle is the one for cross-border drivers. Cross-border drivers are actually given permits for 90 days. These normally have certain conditions that they need to meet, which are not stipulated, but can be acquired from the embassy if somebody wants to apply for a cross-border visa, but it's only valid for 90 days. And the second one concerning a child, a person who's got a PR, but is asking if their niece can get a study permit. They can, on conditions that they become the guardians of the 15-year-old, and they also get permission from the parents stating that the person with the PR is going to be the guardian of that child while the person is in school. They also need to provide documents like proof of residence and financial statements as well to prove that they're able to take care of that child. And the parents of the child can also add their financial statements to prove that they are capable of paying school fees in South Africa. Sorry, would you repeat the other question? I seem to have
15 years.
The other one, what about children who are above 18 coming to visit parents for more than 30 days?
They have
above
to get
18.
Yes, they'll have to get a visitor's visa. Unfortunately, they can't be included on their parents' permit, so they have to apply for a visiting visa, which is valid for 90 days.
Okay. The next one is, I'm not too sure, Mr. Kalunga says, is it possible for one to surrender the current permit status to apply for a new one? The next one is, what are the requirements to surrender the permit? That's after they surrender the old one. Maybe you can answer those two because they're from the same person.
Okay, the one thing that I'm not sure about is why is the person surrendering their current state? I suppose there could be a reason why they're doing that. And the second reason is that if they did surrender, that would raise red flags, and then it will be determined by the High Commission if they'll be able to give that person another permit. So there could be a reason. What is the underlying reason as to why this person wants to surrender their status?
Okay. Then the next one is, I have a PR. Can I, oh, sorry, this one I already read it. I'm trying. Can an affidavit do in lieu of birth certificate?
Unfortunately, yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Okay.
But
sorry,
it has to be sworn in for the country where the person is born. And mostly they would accept affidavits for those people that are born in Zambia. With South Africa, I'm not so sure because normally we just take on affidavits for people that are born from Zambia, and it's accepted if the birth certificate is missing.
You talked about professional bodies. You have to be affiliated. Is it professional bodies in Zambia or in South Africa or in UK? Which professional bodies are we talking about? Then
That's
another question, sorry, and let me just read two more. What happens in a situation when you have children that are South African citizens, but under 18 years old. Can a mother apply a relative's permit using the children? The last one, you answer them together. What happens if you don't use your PR permit for some time after obtaining it? Can one lose it?
Okay, so on the PR, where your children are South African citizens, unfortunately, your children have to be in a position of providing for you. They have to be above 18 years for them to apply for a permit on your behalf. And then on the relatives visa, on the PR, once you have a PR, you're expected to use it. If you don't use it for a while and then you come to use it again, you have a higher chance of losing it, because they will question you as to why you have the status but you've not been using it. So that's dependent on the officer that you're going to be dealing with. But yes, they are allowed to get the status from you.
Then the next one is, how long does a critical skills visa take to process?
30 working days.
30 working days. Does a global professional qualification have to be certified by SAQA also?
It's dependent. It's dependent on the qualification, but qualifications like ACCA are not evaluated by SAQA because it's globally recognized.
Okay. If one can get professional body registration based on experience, not qualifications, can they still apply for critical skills visa?
Unfortunately, they won't even be able to apply for, at the professional body level without a qualification. Qualifications are considered in the application and not experience.
Okay. What about if you are married to a South African and you want to join your spouse and stay with him or her in South Africa? What are the documentations required?
I think my husband did display, let me display the document as well. That comes in on relatives visa or relatives visa section 11.6 if you're going to take up employment. But if you're not taking up employment and you just want to stay in South Africa, those are the requirements on the screen. But if you're taking up employment, then you have to add in employment related documentation to the application.
What is the difference between your services and that of VFS? As an example, spouse visa is free on VFS and it's about 5,000 on yours.
I didn't catch the question. Please repeat it.
What is the difference between your services and that of VFS?
Yes.
For example, the spouse visa is free on VFS and you are charging 5,000.
Okay, so VFS is a courier company whose charges are very minimal. They collect documents from you and take them for submission, and they don't even chase up on your behalf. They just submit and wait to receive. Unlike us, who are a business, and we submit, chase up, and try and make sure that your documentation are here, and we also try and help you that you meet the required documentation for submission. VFS is just a courier company.
So does this mean that the only people who have had critical skills permit for more than 5 years are the ones who qualify for PR? Let me read two more because we're running out of time. The other one is, what about PR if you are married in South Africa? The next one is, what happens if you don't know that one already? Yeah,
on the
answer those two.
On the critical skills, I also just wanted to add on that one. People who have PRs, regardless of validity, are allowed to apply for PR using critical skills.
Okay. If you already applied for a PR in 2017, how can you help fast track